welcome everybody. Thank you for attending. Thanks so much for joining us today. We are very excited to welcome you. My name is Kim Greenholm, and I am an Outreach and Education Advisor with the Student Recruitment Department at Mohawk College. And today I'm joined by the wonderful faculty of our Chemical and Biotechnology engineering programs. You'll see all their lovely faces on our screen right now. Before we get started, this is just a reminder to the participants to please keep your videos and microphones turned off. We kindly ask that you use the chat feature at the bottom of your screen to ask any questions, and we will answer them at the end of our presentation. We'll also have an opportunity to unmute your mics so that you'll be able to ask questions of the faculty in person as well. We are recording today's session for future use and for it to be viewed on our chemical and bioengineering program pages. So please keep that in mind as well. We know everyone wants to know how September is going to look for program delivery. And after very careful consideration and a number of options, the college has made the decision to deliver the fall 2020 semester of our chemical and biotech programs virtually. There will be some opportunity to access labs when available. If entering a program that will be virtual for the fall, please know that the plan is flexible and can easily be scaled up or down to accommodate any changes along the way. We are playing by ear by public health, and our goal is to limit the number of students on campus at any given time for your safety. You can be confident that our learning styles will meet the learning outcomes for your programs while still ensuring the quality educational experience that you expect from Mohawk College. I'd encourage anyone to check updates regarding COVID-19 on the Mohawk College website. There is a link for our frequently asked questions available there as well, and we will be providing those links in our chat features as we go along. If any international students are joining us today, welcome. It's great to have you here, but please be sure to connect with our International Student Department. The website for international student support and information will also be shared in our chat. Just a reminder that there is still space in our engineering programs for applicants looking to start in the fall. To be considered, you will need your grade 12 English and grade 12 math at a college or university level to meet the admission requirements. Further details on admission requirements can be found on each of the program pages. So again, welcome. We're excited to have you here. It's a learning experience doing these presentations online. So please bear with us if any of our internet connections kind of go astray. I will now hand it over to George, who will provide you with more information about our programs.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us. My name is George Miltenberg. I'm an Associate Dean in Engineering Technology at Mohawk College. I noticed that we have 5 people joining us today, and Sarah, Stasia, Tatiana, Tyler, I'm not sure who else. Maybe while I'm talking, you can go into the chat or the vote and just give me a thumbs up or thumbs down if you're already accepted into the program, or whether you, and a thumbs down if you're just looking, just so that we get an idea of who we're talking to and what you may or may not know about the program already. So let's talk about that. Let's go to the next slide, please. These are the programs that we're going to talk about today, and there's a number of them, but they're in 3 themes. One is biotechnology, one is environmental technician, and the other program area is chemical engineering technology. So biotech has, there's 3 options. There's a biotech, there's a biotech health. Both of those are 2-year programs, and you can opt into a co-op, which adds 1 year of working. there's a 3-year program of Biotech Advanced. There's 2 programs we're talking about for environmental technician. They're both 2 years, one with a 1-year optional co-op. And then the 3rd program we're going to talk about today is chemical engineering technology, which is a 3-year advanced diploma, and it has a mandatory co-op. Before we talk about all of those programs, and I'll introduce you to some of the faculty that teach in that area, and they'll talk about those programs in specific. I want to give you an opportunity to, number one, do a bit of a virtual look at our classrooms, or the classrooms that you'll be studying in. So we'll show you some pictures of those classrooms. We'll talk about that a little bit. You'll get a chance to meet your faculty. And in particular, during the time we have together, I want you to think about the careers that these programs will prepare you for. I want you to think about the opportunities when you come to Mohawk. We are unique in that we'll help you build a resume while you are earning your diploma. So we'll give you opportunities to put things on your resume that you won't get at other colleges. And so we're going to talk about building a resume. We're going to talk to you about getting involved in the college. Coming to college is more than just going to class and studying for your exams. We want to talk about the social aspects and the opportunities to get involved in research and other volunteer programs that really help you mature more than just earning your diploma. And the other thing we want to talk about is a pathway. So for some of these programs, all of the programs are designed to be to prepare you for a working career. But in some cases, you might want to continue your studies, whether that's with more college education or to go off to university and earn a degree. And we want to make sure that you understand that coming to Mohawk College prepares you very well for a university degree, if that's what you're looking for. And we'll talk about the pathways that we have established with wonderful universities to make that a reality for you. Next slide, please. So before we begin, we've produced this little video. It talks about chemical engineering technology, but it's very similar for the other programs. And we're just going to spend 2 minutes and have you kind of walk through our campus with this student. So play the video.
Oh, hi there. Welcome to Mohawk College. What's that? You want to learn more about chemical engineering technology? Well, you've come to the right place. The #1 college in the GTHA to be exact. Well, let's go learn more. Follow me. Chemical engineering technology. This isn't your grade 10 science class. It's not just about mixing chemicals and getting reactions. Although you'll be able to do that, and we know how much fun that can be. Nice. That kind of discovery has always been my favorite. If you want to learn more, follow me, and I'll show you all the cool things chemical engineering technologists do. What do food and beverage production, crude oil refining, and wastewater treatment all have in common? These industries need people like you to help separate and purify chemical mixtures. You also do your fair share of analysis. I know, analysis. Sounds like something boring you did in English class while studying Shakespeare. But you won't feel that way when using our state-of-the-art equipment, accurate enough to detect 0.1 grams of lead in an Olympic-sized swimming pool. In our practical lab environment, you'll be exposed to real-life chemical operations. In our increasingly automated world, it's important to be able to control, monitor, and analyze these processes with software. So, there you have it. Everything you need to know about the Chemical Engineering Technology program here at Mohawk College. And if that's not enough to get you on board, how about an 80% success rate of finding a job? So, what are you waiting for?
Okay, so that was a video. It showed some of our labs, and maybe you can get an idea of yourself walking around in a lab coat studying at our college. So let me now take you and we'll show you a few more pictures of some of the classroom spaces that you'll be studying in. This is a lab. We teach biotechnology and organic chemistry in this lab. We'll go through these fairly quickly. Next slide, please. These are students working in a new lab that we've just created. This is a biofuel lab. Mr. Matsky will talk a little bit more about the work that he's done. He's actually built this lab. Next slide, please. Here's some other equipment that we have, some bioreactors and some other equipment that you'll get to know how it works and what it's used for. Next slide, please. Here's a bigger bioreactor in the basement and another piece of equipment, an auto sampler. Next slide, please. Oh my goodness, this is part of our distillation column. Next slide, please. Here's some students in a lab. These are actual research students that were preparing a presentation at a water conference that they participated in. Next slide, please. Okay, so that's a quick look at some of the labs. Our faculty, when they talk about the programs, they might want to refer back to some of those slides. Like was mentioned at the very beginning, this program will be taught virtually, at least for the first semester. We fully intend to get back onto the campus as soon as it's safe to do so. And when we do that, more than 30% of your class time will be spent in labs like the ones that I showed you. But for this fall, you're going to need a computer to participate in the lectures and the virtual labs that we've prepared for you. And so for the programs, the environmental, biotech, and chemical engineering programs, you'll need pretty much a basic computer. Any computer that's capable of running Windows 10 will work. It's important that you have a video capability so that you can participate in ask questions. So if your computer has a camera on it, that's desirable. But the most important thing is that you have a quiet place to study, to participate in the lectures, to listen to the lectures, a comfortable desk to sit at, and good connectivity, so good internet. So if you are using your computer now to stream movies, then that is the perfect piece of equipment that you need to participate in the program. We prefer PCs to Apple computers in all of the Eng Tech programs. So if you're buying a computer, we would prefer it if you didn't buy an Apple, but you bought a PC. If you have an Apple, it will work. It's just a little bit more playing around. Next slide, please. Okay, so at a glance, we wanted to show you some of the courses that we've prepared for you. So you can't really show an entire course on one page, but Mr. Matsky prepared this slide, and it shows some of the equipment that we've shown you in the pictures earlier. But this is a biofuel plant, and it's used primarily to teach a course called Unit Operations. Unit Operations is a course that environmental, biotech, and chemical engineering students take. And I apologize, but to the lay person, Unit Operations is how you take a bench scale or a small scale process and grow it into an industrial scale. So this is the example of a course that we teach that you will learn when you come to Mohawk College. Next slide, please. In our chemical engineering in a senior semester, this is another course, and this course is actually a fun course because you learn how to brew beer. And it's not, we don't teach brewery, so we're not going to teach you how to be a brewer master, but there's a lot of learning that can be had in making beer, and it's a fun way to teach the concepts and to bring together lots of learning from earlier semesters. So again, if you're in chemical engineering, you get to learn how to brew beer, but it is a culmination of a lot of introductory courses that bring you to the point where you can understand all of the chemistry and all of the operations that go into actually brewing something commercially. Next slide, please. Okay, this slide tells you a little bit about what makes Mohawk College different than some of the other colleges in Ontario. And at Mohawk College, we are the largest co-op college in the province. We've had co-op programs longer than any other college. And so the co-op opportunities that we have with our industrial partners are very, very significant. So if you come to Mohawk College, if you're in chemical engineering, you must take a co-op, but in the other programs, they're co-op optional. But if you choose co-op, you'll choose to work for a year in the middle of your studies. And that year, you'll learn so much more than what we can teach you in the classroom. And again, you'll be able to build your resume. You can build your resume because of the more than 35% of the classes that you take in labs, working on equipment, we'll show you in a second, that is industrial quality, state-of-the-art equipment. So when you go to find a job, you can speak with confidence that you know how to use equipment that you are very likely to find where you're working. Mr. Maskey will talk about some of the applied research, but at the college in general, we have over 100 research projects a year, well over 100 now. And we are looking for students to help faculty with their research. In the environmental technology program, for instance, we have wastewater certifications that students take. We give them out on behalf of the Ministry of the Environment. And so not only do you earn a diploma, but you get industrial certifications, which can set you up well for careers in water treatment, for instance. In some of our programs, we have industrial capstones. These are culminating projects, but the projects are done for industry. So we'll introduce you to industrial partners, and you'll actually work on a technical project for an industry, much like you would if you were working in that industry. And so again, something that you can put on your resume when you graduate. And finally, when you come to Mohawk College, there is a whole host of clubs that are technical. We have a chemistry and biotech club. We have a women in technology and trades clubs. But we have lots of clubs that are just social or even clubs if you consider intramural sports. So when you come to Mohawk College, we encourage you to get involved in things outside of the classroom that you can also put on your resume. Very many companies are looking not only for students with good grades, but students who have participated in clubs and know how to network and know how to be social. And when you come to Mohawk College, we'll encourage you and we'll give you plenty of opportunity to join clubs and to add that to your resume. Next slide, please. Applied research. So here's some pictures. Mr. Maskey will talk about it in a second, but if you can picture, these are students that have gone off to represent Mohawk College at conferences in and around Ontario. In some cases, they've won awards based on their presentations. In other cases, they've come in close seconds and thirds. But hopefully you can picture yourself as one of the people in these photographs participating in research with faculty and making presentations around the province. Next slide, please. Here's a poster of some research that Mr. Matsky is doing, and this is with drones. So this, Mr. Matsky flies drones in particular over agricultural areas, looking for contaminants, pests in particular. So hot spots where pests are rampant, so that we can target the application of pesticides, or even flying over fields looking for drought areas, areas where the irrigation isn't proper, so we can target irrigation and lessen the use of water in fields. So this is an example, and again, he has students that go with him that help with the mapping, that help with the flying of the drones. Next slide, please. We'll talk a little bit about pathways. Cindy will tell you about pathways, but when you come to Mohawk College, students come from a number of different areas. They'll come straight out of high school. There'll be mature students. There'll be students from international, and even students that are trained and were working professionally outside the country, that are coming to Canada and want to get a Canadian education. They all come to Mohawk College and choose from a number of programs. When those students graduate, many of them will go off to work. Most of them will go off to work. But if you come to Mohawk, we have pathways that are set. So provided your marks are good, you can get right into McMaster, into the McMaster Bachelor of Technology degree program. We can get you to stay at Mohawk and earn post-grad certificates. And we also have pathways to other university degree programs. So if you come to Mohawk to earn a 3-year diploma, maybe after a couple of more years, you can earn a university degree. Next slide, please. This slide talks a little bit about our partnership with McMaster. You probably know, if you're looking at other colleges, that some colleges have degree programs that are offered by the college. At Mohawk, we didn't go that route. We've partnered with McMaster University. McMaster is a top 100 university in the world. So we partnered with them with degree programs, and we have a host of degree programs that are offered jointly by McMaster and Mohawk. In particular, I've highlighted two. One is biotechnology. So if you come to Mohawk and earn an advanced diploma in biotech, you can then move on, if your marks are good, to McMaster into their biotech program. And if you earn an advanced diploma in chemical engineering, you can then go off to McMaster and earn a degree in manufacturing engineering. Next slide, please. So this is the final slide of my presentation, and I've saved, I think, the best for last. This shows some equipment that is being used right now in the battle against COVID-19. I'm sure everybody here has heard about COVID-19, unless you're living under a rock for the past 4 months. But our students, our graduate students from the biotech program, are working at St. Joseph's Healthcare in the research area, fighting the COVID-19 battle. This is in testing areas, and in particular on the supply chain for reagents and testing. So if you know that the testing that was done in Canada, and especially in Ontario, was very weak, we couldn't test a lot of people at once, and now we're testing 30,000 people a day. And that's in large part to the research that's being done right here in Hamilton and being helped by graduates of Mohawk College. They're using that qPCR piece of equipment The one in the middle, it looks like an ordinary piece of equipment, but it's actually quite sophisticated. We were one of the first colleges in Ontario to have one, and our students learn how to use it, and it helped them get a job, and it helped them participate in the fight against COVID-19. So we're going to show you a short little Instagram video that was produced at St. Joseph's, and the people in the video are actual very recent grads of Mohawk College. Can you play the video? Okay, so that's all I have prepared for you. I see that there's some chatting going on, and I'll be reading the chats. I'd like to stop now and introduce you to 4 faculty that will talk about programs and research at Mohawk College. I'll start with Kamala Cruz. Kamala, I'll ask you to introduce yourself and then to speak about the Chemical Engineering Technology program. Over to you, Kamala. You might want to unmute yourself.
There we go. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. So I am the academic coordinator of Chemical Engineering Technology and Environmental Technician programs. So all of our programs have a lot of things in common, but also certain unique specialties. So chemical engineering gives you a lot of exposure to chemistry, a lot more than the other 2 programs. And also, in addition to that, what you get in chemical engineering, because it's a 3-year program and it's a mandatory co-op, you also get exposure to process automation and also manufacturing processes as well. So if you're more interested in getting jobs in the manufacturing end, in improving processes also, as the industry is moving more and more towards automation, chemical engineering, because it has a fair bit of engineering in it, it gives you that understanding and opens up possibilities in that area. And of course, biotech gives you biotech-specific skills, lab skills, biology-based lab skills. So all our programs have overlap in terms of you do get exposure to chemical analysis, but in chemical engineering, you also get exposure to manufacturing and also process automation. So the kind of industries where you can get jobs with chemical engineering, and our students do very well in finding jobs. It's one of our programs with the highest employment rate, also co-op placements as well. So manufacturing of pharmaceuticals, manufacturing of new materials, clean fuel alternatives, food and beverage production and testing, wastewater treatment. Chemical engineering will open up opportunities for you in all those industries, and the future is quite bright. It may not feel like at the moment with COVID-19, but this is a very good program, as are other 2 programs as well. So that's all I have to say, and if there's specific questions, we can answer them as we move through the presentation. Thank you.
Cindy, do you want to talk a little bit about biotech, please? Thanks, Kamala.
Thanks, George. So my name is Cindy Mellenbacher, and I am, well, I was the first year coordinator for the program. That was kind of funny. That was instinctively came out of my mouth about being the first year coordinator. Greg Matsky, who's going to speak a little bit later, is the taking over my role as first year coordinator, but I'm still actively involved with the first year students, as well as being teaching in all of the programs in that area. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about our biotech program, primarily in terms of the kind of jobs and opportunities. And as Kamala said, there's for sure some overlap that occurs, but there's then some unique kind of opportunities that happen. So with our biotech program, whether it's the 2 or the 3 year program, they really do gear towards primarily lab type jobs. So you'd be working in maybe quality control in the food or beverage industry, maybe even in pharmaceuticals. There are some research opportunities like we just saw in that Instagram video, which was very cool on that side. And the research again is maybe not quite as common for both of the programs. That's a little bit more on the 3 year program and what can happen with that. Biotech is a real combination of biology and chemistry. So we kind of see some of that overlap in the industries. It's also a couple of other areas that we've had students work in is the agricultural industry. So getting into jobs in that area and also in the process side. So there is opportunity sometimes in the process side of the biotech world. So lots of different opportunities. We kind of saw a little bit about that pathway. It's a really good pathway from our 3 year program. So the 3 year program, students then can go into the 5th semester, so which is the 3rd year of a BTech degree program in biotechnology, which is a great opportunity. So it really just takes them a couple years to get a degree from there. So lots of really good, exciting opportunities in the biotech world.
Thank you, Cindy. And last, or not, sorry, not even last, Lori will talk to you about the environmental program.
Great. Thanks, George, and welcome everyone. So my name's Lori Vanderswet, and I'm a 20+ year faculty member at Mohawk College. Our environmental technician program's been on campus for about 25 years. And when it first started all those years ago, it was really filling the needs of local industry. And so we were birthed out of the chemical department. So we have a strong background in chemistry. Most pollutants are chemical in nature, so we need to do some analysis there. Our program has typically focused on pollution monitoring, control, and abatement for water, wastewater, air pollution, soils. We've evolved over the semesters. We've added GIS, some extra computer skills. As George was mentioning, we now have agreements with the Ministry of Environment, Conservation, and Parks for entry-level water treatment. So students that are interested in working in the water industry, we have an amazing path for them. We are excited that this fall we will be offering for the first time in our air pollution class a component on climate change. We've developed a course for our 4th semester that's dealing with a lot of data analytics. We are starting to do some climate change calculations or emission calculations. We, at the same time, we also have project courses for the students in their 4th semester. They have project management, project courses. So there are opportunities also on the assessment side of things, bylaw side of things. If you see yourself on that enforcement, there are certainly opportunities there. I had an email a couple weeks ago from a student that's between 2nd and 3rd semester, and she wanted to know from me what kind of jobs she should consider taking for her coming up internship. And I do a lot of the water courses, and so I focus on that side of things. And she was focusing, she said, I'm interested in recycling, I'm interested in remediation, and maybe some air pollution control. And student graduating from the environmental program, there is opportunity in all of those directions. Even the lab that George was talking about, our unit operations lab, environmental students have access to that lab, because for anybody going into the industrial sector, you have to be able to clean up industrial wastewater streams. So it's great exposure to the equipment that's used in those industrial sectors. And finally, because I can keep on talking, but I'll stop. One more thing, that we do have also pathways to universities, colleges and universities. It's fairly straightforward to go to another college to get a technology program or diploma, because this is a 2-year technician diploma. But the big thing that this program has is pathways to universities like Guelph and Western, where you get about 1.5 years worth of credit from your 2-year environmental technician diploma towards an environmental based degree. There's a few other opportunities out there. You can find them on our website, or some other coordinators will help you there as well, but only good news ahead. Okay, so good luck with whichever path you choose. Thanks.
Thanks. And the last person I want to introduce is Greg Matsky. But before I do, Greg was going to talk about some of the research that happens at Mohawk College. The one theme that goes across all of our programs, actually goes across a lot of programs at Mohawk College, is the theme of sustainability. When we think about sustainability, it's easy to think about the environmental technician program, but sustainability and sustainable practices and sustainable thinking is a common theme, and something that we really take seriously at Mohawk College. A little bit about sustainability and maybe what Mr. Matsky will talk about. So over to you, Greg.
Thank you. Welcome everyone to our open house. My name is Greg Matsky, and I'm one of the faculty members here in Chemical, Environmental, and Biotech department. I teach mostly engineering courses in chemical engineering program, which includes ChemEng 1, ChemEng 2, ChemEng 3 courses, chemical plant operations, where students learn basic concepts of engineering. They learn how to run the mass balance, how to run the energy balance, and basically we teach the students various unit operations that cover the chemical processes and physical processes, which again is part of the upstream processing and downstream processing in industry. And we are sitting here in the virtual lab. That's one of the pictures of our lab. You can see the small bioreactor. So those courses are covered in ChemEng curriculum, but as Laurie mentioned, environmental technology students and biotech students are exposed to this pilot plant scale unit operations, because going into industry, students have to gain the basic knowledge, basic experience of touching the instruments, rather than looking at the instruments and reading how to operate the, let's say, distillation column from the books. In terms of the applied research, so in addition to regular courses that we teach in our department that have, I would say, 50% of the lab and lecture components, students have opportunity to participate in research projects. So I have to say that the research is not a compulsory component of the program, because sometimes it can scare the students. I have to do the research, I have no idea, and so on. So this is an option for the students. And very often the ideas for the project, the topics would come from the students or sometimes from the faculty. But I have to say that the students are integral part of any research project. So we cannot run projects by the faculty. We have to, and we want to expose students to these opportunities. And those research projects cover chemistry, chemical engineering, different unit operations, environmental technology, water, wastewater, treatment processes, many physical processes here, as well as the biotechnology projects covering microbiology, applied genetics. So this is a variety of the topics in terms of the applied research. And we do have the big applied research department at the college that helps students and the faculty to get the funding for those projects. And very often, once the faculty gets the funding, the students are being paid by participating in those projects. I don't know if we can go back to a couple of the slides where we had the poster for the biofuel plant or maybe the drone project. I don't know, can we get, thank you. The next one, this one. So yeah, this one, thank you. So as George mentioned, this is addition to our unit operations lab. The school got funding for buying the new equipment, a state-of-the-art distillation column. In addition to that, we added 2 glass reactors, and the green reactor on the bottom left side of the screen, you have a picture of this glass reactor. So instead of running just a simple distillation process where we teach the students how to separate the binary mixtures, we added 2 reactors, and having 2 reactors, we can perform the chemical and physical processing here, as well as teach the students separation of, let's say, different mixtures by distillation process. Can we go back, come down to 2 slides with the drone project, for example? The next one, the next, this one, yes. So the previous slide showed the applied project in area of chemical engineering, and students will be, each student in chemical program, environmental and biotech program would be using this equipment. This slide is an example of environmental technology applied projects. Again, at the bottom right-hand side, you can see not only the faculty member, but the students that got involved in these activities. And as George mentioned, or Laurie mentioned about the GIS that is part of the curriculum in environmental technology program. Beside the GIS technology, here we can see drones applications in GIS, where we can basically monitor the health condition of the plants and then hand in the results to the farmer to decide whether he has to intervene and do some spraying, use some chemicals to basically terminate the fungus or the insect. So again, in summary, the research activity is not the must, but it enhances the skills that the students gain. And the ideas very often are coming from the students, sometimes from the faculty. The department that we have at the college helps gain the funding, and with the funding, we can buy the equipment, as well as we can pay the students for this extra work that they perform during the semesters in environmental, chemical, or biotech program.
Okay, thank you, Greg. What I'd like to do now is open it up to some questions. I see that Ahmed has already written a question in the chat, so I'm going to read his question and then I'm going to find out who's best to answer it. So Ahmed writes, I am currently enrolled in power engineering technology in another college. I want to come to chemical engineering and work my way to a BTech program. So who can talk best about that? About how Ahmed can do that?
That's probably me.
Okay, Cindy. Good, thank you.
I'm thinking it's me who can answer that. Ahmed, yeah, that's definitely an opportunity or a possibility to go there. Until we kind of see your transcript, the courses that you've taken, we can't say right now what kind of course equivalencies you might get or not from our program, but really you just need to apply into the chemical engineering technology program. And then once you're in the program, we can kind of look at what you've taken so far and assess it on that basis. We do offer equivalent courses or exemptions for courses that are equivalent to the courses that you've taken. So yeah, the door is definitely open for you.
And Ahmed, as far as getting into the BTech program, the pathway from chemical engineering is into the manufacturing engineering technology program. It's a degree completion program. So that program is offered jointly, like I said, between McMaster and Mohawk, mostly McMaster. So once you graduate from chemical engineering, assuming that your marks are good, so you need a 75 average, that will guarantee you admittance into the BTech program at McMaster. And that program is designed that you can work full-time and you take that course part-time. But basically you're given the equivalent of 2 years towards the degree at McMaster. So you would need to complete 2 more years worth of courses. All of those courses run in the evenings. So you can work during the day, finish up, and then conceivably 2 or 3 years, however long it takes you to finish, you'll have a degree from McMaster University.
All right, and George, if I may jump in here.
Sure.
We have had a question for Cindy come in from Adriana. I'm going to unmute her so she can ask her question.
Perfect.
All right.
Hi, Adriana.
Hi there.
So it looks like you had a question, and we're not sure about the best course. So what were your kind of meaning on that?
Okay, so when I spoke to my, I think, counselor, my mom had said, she was talking about choosing different courses around the biotech program I got accepted into. So I just wanted to know if there was any specific courses that would benefit.
This is from high school, like from your high school courses?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, perfect. Okay, so usually, so one of the really core, I know sometimes when we hear the word biotechnology, right away you think, oh, biology is what you want, but I actually find students usually do better with some chemistry background. So I'm not sure if you've taken chemistry in high school, but often we find that students, that's a good starting place for your high school courses. There is a math course, depending on which biotech program you are taking. There is a math course that is part of admissions, and that would be the other one to check and make sure you know which one it is.
Okay, right now the one I got accepted into, I believe, is the biotechnology health one with the brackets.
Yep.
So this year for this semester in high school, I have chemistry, my math was last semester, and I have 3 different bios.
That sounds wonderful. I think that sounds like a great background that should really help you to be successful in the program.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much, Adriana. Okay. We also have some questions coming in through chat. What kind of applied research opportunities are available to the advanced biotech students, and when would you be doing this? While you're in school, before, or after?
So this is probably a question that I might try to answer. We don't have Ethan here. Ethan is the person in charge of the research projects in the biotechnology department, but practically speaking, the applied research in biotech area covers microbiology, biotechnology, and genetics. And those projects are done during the regular semesters, after the hours, sometimes on Saturdays, on Sundays, depending on what type of work has to be done. And those projects are done under the supervision of Ethan, because he's the main person in charge of the research projects. So again, it depends on the type of the project, how much time it will be required, but we do have CSAP positions for the students, so students help faculty in the research projects, and during the year the time that they can spend is maximum 15 hours during the week to work on the projects. If there are no active semesters during the summer, those hours are 37.5 or 40 hours per week.
All right, thank you very much, Ethan. There are some questions coming in regarding our admission requirements for all of the programs. We are looking at your grade 12 English, college or university, and math, grade 12 math, preferably, and I'm sure the faculty will agree to this, that we will take the MCT 4C. Preferred though, either a mixed or a university level math. And that's just to help you be more successful when you get into the programs. We're not looking at a chemical for admission requirement. However, again, as Cindy mentioned, it is important that you do have some knowledge, again, just to help you be more successful when you come into the college and start one of our programs. We do offer peer support. There's peer mentoring, there's peer tutoring. So if at any time you are struggling with a concept, through the Learning Support Center, we do have tutoring available, and students are eligible for 3 free hours of tutoring a week. So once you start struggling, it's important that you do reach out to get help. I don't know if anybody, any of our faculty would like to speak to that. But that's a major question that we're having coming in right now is the admission requirements. Yes, Tracy.
Hi, if I can add to that as well, in addition to your course-specific supports and tutoring, if you're struggling in any way with the technology that you have, working virtually and remote, there's great supports available online, and they'll be available starting early August, and they'll carry all the way through the year. And there'll be things like videos to help you, guides, but there'll also be virtual drop-ins that can help students with things like how to connect to My Canvas or how to use Zoom or Teams, some of the tool sets that are there. So they'll be available, they'll be on the website, and there's lots of people around and available to help you have a really successful experience at Mohawk.
That's great. Does anybody else, any of our attendants have any questions? There's a reaction button down at the bottom. You can see if you move your mouse, there's a reaction. If you do have a question and you want to ask to everybody, use one of the reactions and I can unmute you and you can ask out loud. No? Okay. That's great. Oh, we do have another question coming in from Sarah. Is there a fast track option to complete the chemical engineering technology course?
Greg or Cindy, do you want to answer that question?
Yeah, I can do that. So in theory, no. So this is a mandatory co-op course or program so that we really encourage our students to be able to attend. So when we talk about the co-op, it is a paid co-op. And for our Chem Eng Tech students, it's an opportunity for 16 months of paid work in the field. So we really think that that's a really positive, good opportunity for our students to have. Now, we have had students whose intention is to go on to university with George's permission, sometimes not do one of the co-ops, the one-year co-op. And so it does make the program a little bit faster. I think that door, George, more gets opened when the program you're going into at university is also a co-op program. So we don't encourage it, but there is a door there if that is the right thing for you. George, I'll let you comment on that.
Yeah, let me just add to that. I think personally, the year of co-op is probably the most important year that you're going to spend at Mohawk College. But some students come with previous experience, and so if you already have industrial experience, you've already worked in labs, then maybe spending another year doesn't add quite as much value as it does to someone who's never really had a full-time job before. Yes, there are exceptions, and we will let students fast track, but there has to be, you have to make a case for yourself as to why you want to fast track. Just skipping out on the co-op is not a good enough reason. But it does happen, and it happens every year. I approve students fast tracking every year in chemical engineering, technology, and in other programs that I administer.
Okay, thank you. Another question from Tyler before we wrap it up. What are the key differences between the technician versus the technologist program for biotech other than length?
Well,
Oh, you can go, George.
no. I'll let somebody else answer that. Go ahead.
Well, I can give it a try. So I teach for all three programs, so I'll do my best to answer this question. I believe in third year, from what I understand, there are more biology specific courses. So you go into immunology and virology, you go into more biology. So it's more biology heavy. Is that correct, Cindy? That's how I understand.
Yes, yeah. So
So,
often how I kind of compare the two is in the 2-year program, again, that's only 4 semesters. So it's kind of, we get a chance and an opportunity to introduce you to lots of different information and topics and labs and that kind of side. When you add on that 3rd year, it gives us a chance to go from an introductory level to a little bit of a higher level of learning and understanding and focus. And so often that gives you a whole nother skill set by having that 3rd year.
And let me add one more thing. Last year, so the students that graduated in April of this year, the 3rd year advanced program is a small cohort, normally 20 to 30 students. So your class size is much smaller. And last year, like I said, in April of this year, almost the entire class decided to go to McMaster's and complete their degree. So the whole group, as a group, went over to McMaster, I think 11 of them. And starting in September, they'll be studying at McMaster to get their degree in biotechnology. So that's the big difference, or one of the differences.
All right, excellent. Well, I'd like to thank our faculty for the great information you've shared today. It truly was amazing. So thank you all for joining us today. It was great. Hope this leaves all of our participants with the confidence to join us in September. If you have any further questions, Terry Lynn has shared the discovery email up in the chat box. And we'd like to thank you guys, the participants, for joining us today as well. If you do need assistance, we are here. We're working from home. It's been a challenge, I'm sure everybody can agree, but we're getting through it. I think we're getting better at it too. So thank you all for joining us, and hope to see you in the fall, whether it be virtually or otherwise.